This is my first what if video titled, What if Naruto was Poseidon? This what if will focus on Naruto having water, air, and lightning release. Because, let's say he has absolute control over those. Like those are his chakra natures. He has absolute control. One day, a god of times named Kronos would be tired of his home high above the clouds. He had sent parts of his soul down to earth and became a baby named Minato. As he grew up, he fell in love with a girl named Kushina Uzumaki. He was named the Yellow Flash of the Leaf. He was the god of time. Of course, he would be the fastest temporary mortal on Earth, actually. He made a move named Flying Raijin. He would defy time itself, or slow time, to make his enemies think he teleports. He was only a mortal as one day, when his newborn child was born, he had some weird water protecting him, and the nine tails was extracted from his wife, sealed inside his child, and he sealed inside his child. He put some of his chakra into the beast, causing it to quote-unquote turn into a great old one, or a Cthulhu. It still had access to his fox form, but it would actually give Naruto, his KCM cloak. It'd make it he'll have it at the end of the time skip, so, yeah. When Hiruzen found Naruto, there was Kushina's body, but Minato was nowhere to be found, as if it disappeared into nothingness. A ball of water was floating around him, looking like it could protect him, like it was a bootleg copy of Gara-san, but it's actually very much stronger. As he can make it denser, he can do anything with it. Spread it out so much that it becomes invisible, and then kill you with it, anything. While growing up, Naruto was always seen near the Rama River, a man-made river by the second Hokage and second strongest Senju of the last generation, Tobirama. He was always swimming against a powerful current, and he usually won. Most of the time, riding to the top of the river and like a waterfall, riding to the top of the river and sliding down like he was in a water park. Hiruzen would actually listen to Kushina's wishes and would notice his affinity for lightning, air, and water. Since Hiruzen had practically equal power in all nature transformations, he would teach Naruto in ninjutsu and taijutsu. Oh, just taijutsu, actually, because he's 8 years old. By the time he's 5 years old or something. By the time Naruto is 8 years old, his ninjutsu is not on a level, as he has no jutsu, but his taijutsu is low beginning. While he was standing on the head of the fourth Hokage, he said, "I'm gonna be just like you, Dad." His mind had trailed off as he mistook the fourth Hokage for his dad. He had slipped, falling to his death. There was a lake under the heads of the monument, but where he was falling, he would just splatter into the lake and drown. Before he hit the water, he would stop, in fact, feeling a wet and cold sensation around him. He was using his chakra for the first time in his life. And let me explain what happened here. He used the moisture in his air to stop him from moving. All together, they were holding him up but pushing him down at the same time. So let's say gravity, it's basically when gravity is equal, nothing happens. He's staying there. He slowly floated towards the concrete and fell face first. When he got up, he found a necklace around his neck. It had 5 golden bars on it, and it looked like it was made of gold. He found a drain in his chakra, and it started spinning around his neck. It went off of his head and started expanding and spinning in a spear around him. He put his hand out trying to grab it and found a cold metal in his hand. It was a 4'6" trident with 5 prongs, 1 big one, 2 medium, and 2 small. He cut off his chakra and found the trident turn back into a necklace and go around his neck. He had a new feeling of chakra when he used his trident. It didn't feel like he was forcing his chakra to become a certain element, but let it flow in and become what it wanted to be, while being with him, a way of using chakra never heard, almost like he and the chakra were at peace. He tried this again, saying, "Water flow, bullet." A bullet of water slowly formed above his hand and shot out. He had just developed a whole new style of using chakra. Instead of forcing it to superheat, and then become super fast and rigid to turn into lightning, he just let it flow. Naruto would tell Hiruzen what he did and demonstrated the water bullet. Hiruzen trying this was found he couldn't even try. In fact, he couldn't even use the chakra as he couldn't let it flow. He had to use the regular way, which is turning it into whatever. What? Your parents didn't have a Kekkei Genkai. Hiruzen would shrug it off, as in this timeline, he's as just as his canon self, except for the part that he actually took care of Naruto. So he's like he has too much to think about. Giving Naruto a few scrolls that he wanted to see what Naruto could do with his newfound way of powering and how he could spin the jutsu. Naruto was interested in marine biology and always knew a fish, coral, and even the density of all oceans on the planet he was on. He found 3 scrolls. One told him about steam jutsu, where combining the hot nature of fire and lightning, evaporating water, so like fire and water, or lightning and water, which would evaporate water into steam, which can increase the speed when coated around the body. A few weeks later, when the academy started, Naruto had gotten a few new jutsu. Steam flow, cloak. Using lightning and water, he makes a steam cloak which increases his speed and energy. Water flow, shark eye. A move which targets his eyes. Unknown to him, this jutsu had stages like a dojutsu, but for now it increases his vision by 2.5 times. Lightning flow, stream. While digging his 5 fingers into the ground, he makes a Chidori, but instead of focusing on the hand, he focuses on his fingertips, which makes Chidori in each fingertip, making like a better Chidori, more concentrated. And he would drag it in the ground like Sasuke did against Gaara, and he would put it up to your face, which would stun you and actually cause some damage. 4 years later, Naruto was 12 years old. He had been training his taijutsu all the time. It can keep up with Second Gate Lee from the Chunin exams. So it's actually pretty strong. About the same level as Gaara right now. Over time, Naruto had slowly been beating Sasuke in their spars, and Sasuke was getting jealous of Naruto's power, asking Hiruzen to train him on taijutsu, as he had seen Naruto training with him for a few times. Alright, so let's say Sasuke is mid-Genin, and Naruto is low Chunin level in taijutsu. Team 7 would be, and Iruka would announce the teams and say, sorry, I messed up there. Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, and Sakura Haruna. Come back next week for your sensei. 1 week later. Nothing really happened, except Naruto was kicked out of Hokage's mansion and given an Uzumaki compound neighbor to the Uchiha, where a branch family with dark red hair that had been with the Uchiha. Kakashi told the team about the bell test a few hours later. The next day at 1 in the morning, when they're supposed to be there at 8. 1 in the afternoon. Naruto would immediately start to use his trident, going straight in for a taijutsu battle, or kenjutsu, with this trident. Then he would say, steam flow, cloak. Like a cloud of fog would surround his body, making a very thin layer with a equivalent to the density of the bottom of the Mariana Trench. It can easily fill every house and building in the Leaf Village, and even the entire Fourth Shinobi battlefield, where the destruction was. After using this, he becomes even more fast, causing Kakashi to drop out Make-out Paradise, or Icha Icha Paradise, whatever you want to call it. Lightning Flow, Stream. Sasuke would jump out and they would double team Kakashi, actually getting the bells in the process. Sakura would be too busy being dumbfounded by Sasuke's abilities. A few minutes later, Sakura was tied up to a log and two boys were eating some ramen while Sakura was crying her heart out. You guys passed, but her. I sense she has an affinity for Genjutsu, but she's too focused on impressing a certain teammate, said Kakashi while looking at Sasuke. Be here tomorrow. There'll be a special guest, maybe even a permanent one. Later that day, you could see Kakashi, Sakura, and Hiruzen in the Hokage mansion. She almost told him on Genjutsu until she saw Sasuke. She's obsessed and needs to be cut off. Sakura said, what? But I finally got on a team with him. With all due respect, Quiet. I don't care if you got on a team with Sasuke. If this is distracting you from becoming a ninja, you're done. There was for the first time a team switch, and Sakura was put on Team 8 with Kurenai, the Genjutsu mistress. And I think you already know who she was replaced with. The next day, Naruto and Sasuke saw a note on the ground. It read that Sakura had been replaced by Hinata Hyuga. Hinata was standing in the middle of the field, acting shy. Naruto would say, "Oh, Hinata, I heard you're shy. You can't be a shy ninja." "Oh, okay." Hinata was beet red. Okay, since we all know about the two people on the team with the dojutsu, Naruto needs a vision enhancement jutsu. Naruto would smirk and say, "I already have a jutsu just for that." Alright, so like sharks, it can increase my vision by 2.5 times over what I've seen. I mean, I did the math. I'm pretty smart, Sasuke would make a confused face and say, "Sharks' vision are 10 times better than humans." Naruto would think for a second and say, "Well, maybe it has stages? When I use it, I can sense vibrations and the electricity of the human nerves." Hinata would say, "That should be considered a dojutsu, but it's a jutsu. How exactly did you do this?" And Naruto's face would light up in happiness. If he had kids one day, he could teach them this. It would be like the Uzumaki clan dojutsu. "I'm not telling you, it's my new dojutsu." Hinata would smile while Sasuke would sigh. "I've got an idea for an exercise. It's used when Hyuga's overuse of eyes and are temporarily blinded. We use our ears to find people and dodge attacks to train Naruto's dojutsu. We could do that." A few hours later, they finally started the training. Naruto activated his dojutsu, closed his eyes, and listened to his surroundings. The black cover of his eyes suddenly had white outlines like echolocation, really. He listened to the whistle of the wind and heard a kunai. He dodged the kunai, throwing a shuriken where it came from. When he threw the kunai, he heard an instinct. He had an instinct to follow Sasuke, who threw the kunai. He had increased hearing, so he could hear him from far away. Sasuke was surprised at how fast Naruto was. He basically followed the tracks left by the kunai and left by the changes in the air left by Sasuke when he was running away. Sasuke wouldn't have been able to dodge unless he used the Sharingan, since even when he dodged, Naruto followed him, like the shark's ability to track their prey. He kept following Sasuke non-stop, and after an hour, he caught him. Sasuke was breathing heavy, and Naruto said, "Okay, let's switch. You're up, Hinata." Hinata would say, "What? I I have a 360 view with my Byakugan. They had been switching between Sasuke and Naruto all day until sunset. Little did they know, Kakashi was watching them the entire day, finding that Hinata was good at training, but very shy. Kakashi finalizes the switch, and Kurenai was impressed with Sakura's genjutsu skills as she managed to do like a weak flower genjutsu and actually land a hit on her. The switch was made permanent, and Sakura was actually mad that she wasn't on a team with Sasuke anymore. So we would switch POVs to that of Kronos. He auditioned his two gifts to the oldest and the youngest of the three siblings, Hinata and Sasuke. Now you're probably wondering, how is Hinata a sibling? Who is going to be the ship? Well, it will be introduced for the far in the future. And I think, let's say, he's going to be in a certain act to rebuild the Uzumaki clan and make the strongest wind user in history. Now, it will be introduced far in the future, like I said. And will be the weirdest ship you have heard, so it's going to be two females. So he sent his daughter, Princess of the Sky, or the kid Zeus, or like very young Zeus, a Kekkei that of pure lightning. She could make anything out of lightning, but more than a regular god can do, and somehow of a primal god, like the building blocks of life. She can make barriers, weapons, buildings. The only limit is how fast she can think. To his son, Sasuke, he gave him a scythe made of pure, solid fire. On par with the solid ambrosia trident he gave to his middle son, Naruto. Well, the youngest is Hinata, then Naruto is the middle, then Sasuke is the oldest. Almost like in actual Greek mythology. This scythe was dark red and was covered with a dry symbiote, which was the scythe minion, Suyu. He could control the air itself. Even if the heat from his body touched the air, he could manipulate the pure heat anywhere. Even if a tiny spark of metal clinging can make him strong as a Kage in the future, when he was like when he got 6-pass power. And so the strongest weapon, the trident, would give absolute control over all earthly matters, such as earth, air, wood, lava, flowers, vines, anything. Now we're switching back to the mortal world. Sasuke got a bracelet that turned into a scythe, and Hinata gained a Kekkei, which would turn her Byakugan a teal color, like a very light teal. It looks almost white, but it's blue. Now, Kakashi would want to immediately start training them, unlike in canon. The next day, he gave them chakra papers, as Sasuke had already known one jutsu, and Naruto had known one jutsu, but it wasn't offensive. It was more of a all-around jutsu. Naruto would pour chakra into the paper. It would wrinkle, crumble, become damp, split in half, and ignite. He had every single basic nature transformation. Hinata split and got struck by a cloud of thunder struck it. And then it wrinkled, then ignited. But she doesn't have fire release, it's just ignited because the heat from the lightning. So yeah. Sasuke's ignited, crumbled, and turned into lava. Now Kakashi was surprised, dumbfounded. Almost all of them had a Kekkei, and Sasuke even had a new nature transformation that he had never seen before. Lava. He then told them that he had a few D-rank missions ahead of them, capturing lost pets, helping with groceries, blah blah blah. They also trained on the side, learning a few genjutsu, but one which Naruto learned or created was Sharyukami. It would put the victim in an ocean, and a shark 10 times the size of a whale would eat them and tear them limb from limb 1,000 times in 1 second. So if you end for a minute, that's 60 That's 60,000 times. So yeah, it's pretty strong. It causes exhaustion and a lot of pain. Most especially in the gate of the chakra, and energy that was active had also been cancelled. He had also been trained to use a trident with Kakashi, learning some sort of kenjutsu, as Kakashi used to use a sword, and the trident was much like a sword. Instead, it had prongs instead of that one sharp edge, so it allowed for more flexible movements. He had not activated the second stage or the first stage of his eye yet. He had also been practicing Shark Eye and finally found about the stages he had to his ability when he unlocked stage 1, which gave him the ability to control water in an absolute fashion. All 3 states at any given time, which is pretty OP. So it's going to be really cool when they go to the Land of Waves arc, because he can control the fog, sense things through the fog. He is also a sensor type, so just like his father, he's a sensor type. After catching a cat for the 5th time this week, Team 7 requested a higher rank mission. They were allowed a C rank escort mission to the Land of Waves. This is the end of the what if. This is my first what if, so I expect comments to tell me what I did wrong. Part 2 will come soon, because I have to write the script for it. Maybe part 2 will not be scripted, so it'll probably be out at least this week. I want to get it out by Saturday. So this is the end of what if. See you in part 2, and